Hey guys, Nick with Phone Arena here, and the highly anticipated Samsung Galaxy S5 just arrived at the office. For those of you who haven't heard somehow, this is Samsung's newest Android flagship smartphone. As such, it comes with improved design, a very impressive specs sheet and, unsurprisingly, a premium price tag. And now we're about to find out how Samsung's Galaxy S5 stacks up against one of the top smartphones for 2013, the LG G2. LG's flagship isn't quite as powerful as the Galaxy S5 from a hardware perspective, and its design isn't quite as flashy, but on the other hand, a G2 costs much less, be it on a contract or SIM-free. So let's now compare these two phones and see which one provides the better bang for its money. Unsurprisingly, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a plastic shell, just like the Galaxy S models before it. What's new, however, is the finish on the back cover. What we have now is a sparkly finish complemented by a perforated pattern. The result is a phone that looks quite fashionable without going over the top with the bling. The LG G2 is also made of plastic on the outside, and it is not a bad-looking phone by any means. When stacked up against the Galaxy S5, however, it looks rather conservative and uninspiring. Its glossy finish and plasticky construction would hardly impress anyone, ourselves included. Unlike the LG G2, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a removable back cover that provides the user with freedom to replace the battery at any time. Also, below the cover we find a microSD card slot for storage expansion. In contrast, the international LG G2 model, which we are using for this comparison, has a non-removable back cover and no microSD card slot. As far as size is concerned, the LG G2 is slightly more compact than the Galaxy S5. That's remarkable given the fact that the G2 comes with a 5.2-inch display, while the S5 has a slightly smaller 5.1-inch display. Both smartphones are of adequate size for a 2014 flagship. The two weigh a tad over 5 ounces or about 140 grams, which makes them neither light nor too heavy for their size. And speaking of size, phones of this caliber are tricky to use single-handedly. This goes for both the Samsung Galaxy S5 and LG G2 as well. The Samsung Galaxy S5 is a water-resistant phone, which is a trait that few other phones can brag with. That's why its micro-USB port is protected by this removable flap. However, water-resistant doesn't mean waterproof, which is why we don't recommend dropping the S5 in the pool just for fun. The LG G2 is not a water-resistant phone, so you'll have to keep it away from liquids. One peculiar thing about the LG G2 is that its power and volume keys are on the back side. That's a feature you'll either like or not. Overall, the keys are okay, we got used to their placement eventually. Samsung is playing it safe with the Galaxy S5. Its power key is on the right-hand side, while the volume rocker is on the left. Both are well exposed and easy to operate. Below the screen we have a physical home key in the middle, with a back key to the right and a button for our recent apps on the left. The home key has an embedded fingerprint scanner, which can be used to unlock the phone, to restrict access to certain items in your gallery, or to authorize PayPal payments. Of course, we don't mind having it, but it could have been executed better. You see, it isn't always accurate. You have to swipe straight down to unlock the phone, and if your swipe is even at a slight angle, it might not register. In case you're wondering, the LG G2 does not have a fingerprint scanner. What it has is a set of capacitive on-screen keys for back, home and menu. The list of recent apps is accessed with a long press on the home button. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a 5.1-inch display, while the LG G2 sports a slightly larger 5.2-inch display. The resolution of both is typical for a flagship 1080 by 1920 pixels. With these figures in mind, it comes as no surprise that the two displays deliver excellent details regardless of what's being displayed, pictures, videos or plain text. Samsung is using a Super AMOLED display for the Galaxy S5, while the screen on the LG G2 is based on IPS LCD technology. To the naked eye, both displays look great with their intense, vivid colors and wide viewing angles. Our measurements, however, reveal some inaccuracies when it comes to color reproduction. First of all, the Galaxy S5 has several different display modes, which you can switch between from the settings menu. The standard one produces a higher than normal color temperature, which makes whites appear bluish. colors are also slightly off. In the professional display mode, however, the display produces a bit more accurate colors according to our measurements. The screen on the LG G2 does not let us modify its color reproduction. Like the cases with the S5, its colors have a rather high temperature. We also measured some slight color inaccuracies, but overall nothing too major. Actually, both of these screens look good enough. They aren't perfect, but in reality we don't think that many would be bothered by their imperfections. Android 4.4.2 KitKat runs on the Samsung Galaxy S5 out of the box. On top of it, we see Samsung's custom TouchWiz interface, which is now flatter and packed with more features than ever. It is quite colorful, as you can surely see, but it is also visually inconsistent. Some menus have a flat, minimalist look, while others appear as if they've been taken out of a cartoon. The heavily modified UI on the LG G2, which just got its update to Android 4.4, is a bit better in that respect, but it is probably too colorful and sparkly than it should be. Thankfully, LG is giving us plenty of customization freedom by letting us pick unlock and transition animations, as well as to switch the UI theme. The default theme is quite flashy, so if you prefer something a bit different, you can always switch to a more modest one. In terms of functionality, features that were present on the previous Galaxy S flagship are found here as well. There are many new apps, of course. For example, the S Health application has been updated to version 3.0. This app is used to track the user's activity during exercise. It shows how many calories you've burned, how many miles you've run, and so on. It provides this data using measurements from the sensors built into the phone. And speaking of sensors, on the back of the phone is found a heart rate sensor, which works together with the S Health application. This sensor, however, isn't as accurate as we wish it was. We gave it a few tries, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. All in all, its success rate appears to be around the 50-50 mark. One of the Galaxy S5 home screens is dedicated to the My Magazine feature, which acts like a personal magazine with curated articles on topics you might be interested in. The service is provided by Flipboard and it has a very user-friendly interface. Multi-window on the Galaxy S5 lets us have two apps opened and running at the same time side by side. For example, we can have a YouTube video playing without having to close our web browser or chat conversation. Speaking of multitasking, the LG G2 has the slide aside feature, which is used for saving up to 3 apps in their current state for later use. That is done with a 3-finger swipe to the side. In addition, the LG G2 also allows certain apps to be opened in a separate window above other apps. On the Samsung Galaxy S5 we find a large and well-spaced on-screen keyboard. It is convenient having an extra row on top with all the numbers, and the dedicated smiley key on the left is a welcome addition. We're quite happy with it, the keyboard is fast and very accurate. Same goes for the on-screen keyboard on the LG G2. It is large with well laid out and easy to hit keys. When it comes to processing power, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has the upper hand. The version of the phone that is going to launch in most markets comes with the fastest Snapdragon 801 system on chip, which has a quad-core CPU that can run at up to 2.5 GHz. Under the hood of the LG G2, we find last year's Snapdragon 800, which has a lower maximum CPU speed of 2.26 GHz. Also, its GPU runs at a lower frequency compared to the one in the S5. But in reality, both phones are on the same page when it comes to performance. Their interfaces run fluidly and both can easily handle heavy apps and games. Still, the Galaxy S5 is likely to prove more future-proof in the long run. There are 2 GB of RAM inside both phones, which should be enough for the needs of most users. Sure enough, the two have no trouble switching back and forth between recent apps. Here we have the stock internet browser on the Samsung Galaxy S5. Unsurprisingly, it zips through even the heaviest web pages. Navigation is smooth and responsive, pages load quickly, and we can swiftly switch between opened tabs. We do see some lags from time to time on those really heavy web pages, but overall the browser is a pretty good one. The LG G2 and its stock browser are also ideal for browsing the web, and of course you can have multiple tabs open. With heavy web pages, however, lags are a bit more frequent. The Samsung Galaxy S5 packs a 16-megapixel camera with a single LED flash. Something unique about it is that it uses phase detection autofocus, which is a feature found on professional cameras. Thanks to this, the camera can focus onto an object for as little as 0.3 seconds, which is impressive for a smartphone camera. On the LG G2, we find a 30-megapixel camera with a single LED flash. Unlike the S5, the G2 has optical image stabilization, which does a great job at keeping the frame steady while taking still photos or videos. As far as image quality goes, the Samsung Galaxy S5 produces great photos with lots of detail in them. Even at 100% zoom, photos look nice and detailed with a bearable amount of digital noise. However, we do see that the S5 boosts the color saturation a bit, making scenes look a bit more colorful than they actually are. The photos from the LG G2 are almost as detailed, although details are softened a bit, presumably by the phone's noise suppression algorithms. Colors have a neutral look. Overall, it looks like the Galaxy S5 has the better camera, but the LG G2 performs almost as well. When it comes to video recording, the Samsung Galaxy S5 can shoot very smooth 1080p video at 60 frames per second. It can also take 4K videos at 30 frames per second. The LG G2 in comparison does not support 4K resolution videos, but it can shoot 1080p 60fps video too, and it looks great thanks to the camera's optical image stabilization. In fact, we'd say that the daytime videos made with the LG G2 look a bit better compared to those from the S5. Sure, the S5's 1080p videos are good enough, but we were expecting them to be slightly more detailed. There is nothing surprising about the audio player preloaded onto the Galaxy S5. It is a straightforward, simple-to-use app with tabs on the top for our tracks, albums, artists, and so on. The music player on the LG G2 is very similar in terms of appearance and layout, but it has a weaker selection of equalizer presets. Still, it is perfectly usable. We copied our usual set of video samples onto the Samsung Galaxy S5, and to no surprise, they all ran fine at resolutions of up to 1080p. Same were the results with the LG G2. Naturally, both smartphones are ideal for watching videos on thanks to their large, high-quality screens. The LG G2 sports a mono loudspeaker on the bottom side, and its quality is mediocre at best. It gets the job done, but only as long as you're not in a noisy place. The Samsung Galaxy S5 has a single loudspeaker on its back. In comparison, it sounds better and it goes to a higher volume level. Phone calls made with the Galaxy S5 are of average quality. The earpiece is loud and we can definitely follow the conversation without much effort, but voices sound a bit muffled. Also, some unwanted hissing sounds make it to the other side of the line. The other party described our voice as slightly digitized and artificial. The LG G2 couldn't amaze us with quality phone calls either. The earpiece sounds good enough, but the microphone can't capture our voice as clearly as we wish it did. Overall, when it comes to quality of phone calls, we would rank the LG G2 and the Samsung Galaxy S5 at the same level. The removable battery inside the Galaxy S5 has a capacity of 2800 mAh. According to Samsung, the phone should be able to provide up to 24 hours of talk time or 16 days of standby on a single charge. Web browsing time is quoted as 10 hours. Now would be a good time to tell you about the phone's ultra power saving mode. When enabled, it reduces power consumption to a minimum, and as a result, even if you're down to the last 10% of battery left, the phone should last for up to another 24 hours. Inside the LG G2 there is a non-removable 3000 mAh battery, and we know from experience that the phone can provide us with a couple of days of moderate usage. One of the power-saving features implemented in the phone is the graphic RAM, which reduces the screen's energy consumption by 26% when displaying static images. Talk time for the phone is listed as 17.9 hours and standby time is quoted as 29 days.
To wrap things up, the Samsung Galaxy S5 is one of the best Android smartphones you can find, with a great display, catchy design, well-performing camera, and a super fast processor beating inside it. But it's also one of the most expensive phones around. In comparison, the LG G2 is a few steps behind the Galaxy S5 on many levels, but it is still a worthy competitor, especially now that its price has dropped considerably since its launch. All in all, you should definitely grab the Galaxy S5 if you demand the very best regardless of its cost. Or if value for money is what you're seeking, the LG G2 would be an excellent investment.
Thank you for watching our comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the LG G2. To learn more about these two great phones, just visit our website phonearena.com.